Pixar. I'm serious, you gotta stop making us cry, man. How's it going, movie fans? My name is Jonathan Martinez and I am a man of movies. I love film and everything that has to do about film. I've loved the art of filmmaking since I was a small boy, and I'm just here for you to listen to my take. If you haven't already, please make sure you check out my last review on The Invisible Man and my thoughts on that. Man, I am so ready to get into this review. I honestly don't know where I'm gonna start, but I love Pixar. Pixar has been such a huge part of my life since I was a small boy. Toy Story is one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time, so it holds a special place in my life. With that being said, let's get into Pixar's newest film. So these two elf brothers, Ian and Barley Lightfoot, go on this huge journey across the land in search of this rare magic in order to spend one day with their father who died when they were too young to even remember him. Alright, so real quick before I get into the nitty-gritty, what is one thing, other than the freaking sadness that Pixar puts in all their films, that makes a Pixar film work? It's characters. Now, I do have a problem with its character designs, because it doesn't kind of look Disney-esque. It looks a lot more like a Sony animation type of film. But the two main characters, the two brothers, Ian and Barley, work so good. I love that they're not these brothers that are pranking each other or that have tough love. They are not afraid to show love. That's something that I wish I had when I was younger, that I had these figures that I could look up to. These two people who are teenage boys and aren't afraid to show, hey, I love you. You're my brother and I'm gonna be there for you and we're gonna go through this together. I love that, okay? As easy as it seems is as easy as I'm gonna say anything about that. Great development. When watching any of the trailers, any of the marketing on this movie, the thing that has to pop out to almost anybody is the magic behind it, the mysticism behind it. And that is what is so unique about this movie, is the lore. And it's so unique and refreshing. Pixar really knows how to make these settings, these landscapes, whether it be something as simple as our own world, but maybe not our own heritage, or something completely out of the norm, something we've never even thought of, like Monstropolis and Monsters, Inc. Pixar knows how to set a story. A world that used to be full of magic and revered by everybody who lived there, now years later, God knows how many years later, have fallen into a type of laziness and conformity that they no longer use magic, let alone even realize that it was once there. That's something I really liked about this movie, but at the same time, I wish that it stayed on that lore a little bit more, because what really takes center stage in this movie is the story of the two brothers, Ian and Barley, on their journey to try and see their father before the magic wears out after 24 hours. And listen, that's a great story. And it was a great adventure, it was action-packed, it was fun, and it was emotional. But I think it was just a little bit too formulaic for me to just sit there and not care that there are so many things around us that we could go and dissect. But instead of getting all of that, what we get is this huge adventure story, which is still really good, but it's still very familiar. And even though I didn't get more of the world around me, what we focused on was so riveting and full of plot development, okay? These adventure type of films are nothing but character development type stories and plot development type stories, and that is what we get, let me tell you. To be honest, I don't know how to talk about this film, because the way that Disney marketed this movie was one way, right? So there's this adventure of these two brothers trying to see their dad before the magic wears out. Okay, that's fine, just said that. But that's not the whole movie. And once it gets to the third act of this film, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on your emotions. It weighs your heart. And it makes you think twice about who is really there for me. I don't want to get into that too much, but let me just say that it is such a loving story full of perspective of the love of two brothers. Not to get into any spoilers, not gonna ruin anything that happens in the end, anything that takes away from the adventure that happens. But what we think is a story about a reunion, which ultimately it is, ends up being a whole story of the love of two brothers and what it means to be there. And I was going through this movie and I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it, but I'm going, man, this is a little bit too familiar. I just don't think there's enough uniqueness in the story for me to really be like, man, this is one of the best films of the year, which I think a lot about Pixar. But once it gets to that third act and you're watching it, and it's just tugging on your heartstrings, and once the end happens, once the climax happens, once our questions have been answered, you're left in tears. I wasn't in tears, but my wife, she was in tears. And I have never seen my wife cry like this during a movie. I have seen my wife cry during movies. Whether it be tears, or whether it be a couple tears, my wife cried like somebody was breaking her heart. And I felt that. But I felt like I needed to be strong for my wife. You know, I didn't cry or anything. It's sad, okay? It's sad. But listen, that's what Pixar does, man. Pixar gives you a great story intertwined with emotional payoff. Pixar knows heart. So what are my final thoughts about this movie? I really love this movie. It was so heartwarming and fun and such an action-packed adventure of a film. Pixar always knows how to add in unique elements in films to make us resonate with their characters, with their setting, with whatever emotional turmoil there is in the film. But I just think that it was a bit too formulaic, a bit too familiar for me to really give it this high praise that I would give a movie like Toy Story, of course. So with that being said, it is definitely a repeat watch type of film. And don't take it wrong, because the fact that I'm calling it a repeat watch type of film means that you should go and watch it, and you need to watch it a couple of times because it deserves that much attention. But that's just my opinion. What's your take on the film? Did you see Onward? Did you not see Onward? Get down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the movie. Remember, film is subjective. Leave a like. Share this video with family and friends. Support content that you like. And subscribe to my channel. Till next time, movie fans.